Good morning, everyone. So it's the Devonshire Shepherdess here. Hope you're all well. I seem to be talking about the weather a lot, but I'm going to talk about it again. So we've given our cows the choice of where they would like to be. They can either be out here, which is where they are. You see them all down there, or they can come inside now. And we've just literally blown a little bit of straw in the shed here, so they can either lie in here or go outside. And funnily enough, they've decided to go outside. And although a couple of days ago it really pelted it down, the fortunate thing with our land is that because it's only 6 inches of soil over Shillet, it kind of runs away really quickly, so that it doesn't stay on the ground. But on the flip side of that, it means that we are prone to compaction. And I believe as we start to renew our soil and look after our soils a bit better, I'm going to stand inside because it's a bit windy. It will become more like a sponge rather than a pancake. So currently, there's the cows eating in the background. Currently, when cattle and stuff go out on fields and things now, we get what we call poaching, and that is basically like this muddy area here is where the cows have come in, and they've poached this piece of land. But a large reason that happens is because we haven't been renewing our soil over the last however many years that we haven't been doing that, or we haven't been focusing on renewing our soil. We've been focusing on growing food and not renewing the soil. So what that has meant is that the soil has lost a lot of its properties that actually we need to start regaining, because particularly when it comes to carbon sequestration, one of the incredible things about it is if we can get more carbon in the soil. So carbon is a level thing. The amount of carbon in the world is always the same. It just depends whether it's under the ground in fossil fuels, soil, if it's in the sea, wherever it's being held, or it's in the air. And the challenge we have at the moment is that there's too much carbon in the air, and we need to get it back into the soil, and then I guess doing its whole jobby for like a million years' time to create more fossil fuels. So what we as farmers can do is help that process. We can start sequestering more carbon, and what we get, the benefit to us, is that we end up getting better soil structure. So it becomes more like a sponge. Now, if you think about a sponge, if you were to squeeze a sponge, it bounces right back out again. And that is what the soil should do. So we should, in, I don't know how many years this is going to take, it could take several years, in 10 to 20 years' time, we should be seeing soils that bounce back really quickly, so that we can, when we outwinter our cows like we are, or like we're attempting to do this year, or at least give them the choice to be outside, the soil will respond by being that big sponge instead of going flat to pancake. So when soil goes flat to pancake, we call that compacted. It then makes it really, really hard, so the water cannot penetrate the soil. So when you go past farmers' fields sometimes and you see mud running out a gateway, that's often because the soil has been compacted and there's nowhere for it to infiltrate into the soil. So it basically just runs. And that's when we get runoff. And the runoff then goes into the streams, goes into rivers, and that is another form of pollution. So soil shouldn't be in streams, shouldn't be in rivers. So we have been doing this for a few years now, for the last 10 years at least, since I became aware of the whole soil structure situation and how we need to be improving our soil, so that we try and keep as much soil in its place as possible. And the best way to do that is by growing plants. So when we put new grasses in, when we put herbal leys in, those plants grow incredibly quickly, and as soon as they come out the ground, they're actually sequestering carbon. So where the whole situation with trees is coming in is fine. Trees need to go though on unproductive land, or land that is kind of like, we've got some pieces of land that are quite steep, and actually they would be great for trees, because it means that if we put cattle and things out on them in the winter, particularly if they're near the streams, the water could literally run off the top and be running right into the river, and we don't want that. We as farmers are good stewards of the land, and we want to be better stewards of the land. And but it's a process that we're having to learn because we have not been taught it. So all of my knowledge that I currently know now has only come in the last 10 years when it it comes to soil health and soil management. But I believe back probably pre-war, they were already doing these principles, and then the war happened and everything changed for UK farming. But it's not it's not unchangeable. I believe that we can go forward and we can make these changes. And so if we can really look after our soil, start to grow more soil, essentially using organic matter, these beasts behind me, these are the machines. You know, they are eating, pooing, peeing, chewing, and they are the ones that are helping us generate more soil. So this stuff down here, this poop, is like gold, you know. And I see our dung store, we try and store our dung for 12 months so that it breaks down properly, and there's not any straw kind of left looking like straw in it, so that we can then put that back on the ground. And that is helping with our organic matter and building the soil structure and everything, getting our worms working. It is my favorite job to go digging for worms and see where the worms are. Currently we have so many worms in the garden, they are making it muddy because we are going out and finding all the little worm casts. So there's lots of worms in the garden, so I'm hoping that there's lots of worms out working in the fields as well. And yeah, so that is kind of like a little bit of about that. So we're giving our cows the opportunity to choose where they want to be. They can either be in here, which is where they've been eating, or they can go outside and stand in the wind and the rain. And the majority of our cows, apart from these few ladies who are having their breakfast, have decided to go and stand in the wind and the rain, which is fine, you know. But it comes with its challenges, and this is what we're kind of like, this is what we're battling, this up here, because we don't know what it's going to do. But going forward, we can make preparations for that. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment below or send me a DM. If anybody wants to talk more about this, then send me a DM and we can set up a meeting. That would be amazing. And if you thought this video like resonated with you in any way, then please share it. That would be amazing. Thank you.